What if I told you that one river, stretching through a harsh desert, created a kingdom that would outlast empires, rewrite human history, and crown rulers who were treated as living gods? Today, we're traveling over 5,000 years into the past to witness how the first pharaohs rose from dust and chaos to build ancient Egypt. Imagine a world with no pyramids, no hieroglyphs, and no pharaohs. A world where scattered tribes battled for survival along the Nile. Yet within just a few generations, these small communities transformed into a unified kingdom, one of the most powerful the world has ever known. How did this happen? How did ordinary humans become divine kings? And what secrets still hide beneath the Egyptian sands? In this documentary, we uncover the rise of the earliest rulers, the dramatic unification of Egypt, and the moment when a leader became a god. Our story begins around 3500 BCE, when the Nile was more than a river, it was life itself. Each year, its predictable floods nourished the soil, turning barren wasteland into fertile farmland. And where there is dependable food, civilization begins. But before Egypt became a kingdom, it was divided. To the south lay Upper Egypt, a narrow valley surrounded by cliffs. To the north, Lower Egypt, a vast marshy delta opening to the Mediterranean. Different lands, different cultures, different leaders. For centuries, these regions lived separately. Rival chiefs, known as proto-pharaohs, ruled small villages. Trade routes formed. Conflicts broke out. Alliances shifted. And slowly, two powerful kingdoms emerged, one in the north, one in the south. The critical turning point came with a leader from Upper Egypt. His name echoes through history, Narmer. A warrior, strategist, and perhaps the first true pharaoh. Around 3100 BCE, Narmer launched a campaign to unite the two lands. The evidence is recorded on a stone tablet, the Narmer palette, showing him wearing the crowns of both Upper and Lower Egypt. Unity changed everything. Egypt now had centralized power, organized armies, large-scale agriculture, and the ability to mobilize thousands of workers. But something else was born. The idea that the ruler was not merely a king, but a divine figure chosen by the gods to maintain cosmic order. This is the moment the pharaohs were born. If you enjoy diving into ancient history, consider subscribing for more weekly documentaries. Egypt's rise wasn't luck, it was geography, environment, and belief woven together into something extraordinary. The Nile River was the foundation. Flowing from south to north, it created a natural highway that connected distant communities. Boats could travel with ease, spreading goods, ideas, and political influence. The annual flood, known as the inundation, deposited rich black soil along the riverbanks. Without it, Egypt could not have survived. With it, they produced surplus harvests that fed workers, supported armies, and allowed specialization of labor. Farmers became craftsmen, craftsmen became artists, artists became architects. Meanwhile, the desert served as a shield. On both sides of the river, vast expanses of sand protected Egypt from invaders. This safety allowed stability, something rare in the ancient world. But the real secret to Egypt's unity was its worldview. The people believed in Ma'at, the cosmic order. Everything, from the rise of the sun to the flooding of the Nile, was part of a delicate balance. And the pharaoh was responsible for maintaining it. This idea wasn't symbolic. It was political, spiritual, and social. A stable Egypt meant the gods were pleased. A failing Egypt meant the ruler had lost divine favor. Early rulers tapped into this belief masterfully. They built temples as homes for gods, not for worship gatherings. Priests cared for these shrines daily, feeding the gods, offering incense, and performing rituals to keep harmony in the world. Cities grew. Trade expanded across the Mediterranean and deep into Africa. Copper, gold, cedar wood, wine, ivory, and exotic animals flowed into the kingdom. As wealth accumulated, so did influence. Meanwhile, writing emerged. The earliest hieroglyphs appeared on pottery, labels, and ceremonial artifacts. They recorded ownership, taxes, and offerings, crucial for a growing state. By the end of the Second Dynasty, Egypt was no longer a simple river kingdom. It was a rising power, organized around a divine ruler, advanced agriculture, and an emerging bureaucracy. and the stage was set for the first era of monumental ambition. With Egypt unified and powerful, its rulers sought a way to display divine authority for eternity. This ambition culminated in one of humanity's greatest architectural revolutions, the pyramid. The story begins with Dosa, a pharaoh of the third dynasty. His architect, the legendary Imhotep, proposed something never seen before, building a tomb entirely out of stone. Until then, tombs were simple mud brick structures called mastabas. But Imhotep envisioned a towering monument combining multiple mastabas stacked atop one another. The result was the step pyramid of Saqqara, rising nearly 200 feet into the sky. For the people, it was a message. The pharaoh is everlasting. The pharaoh is divine. The pharaoh stands between the heavens and the earth. This innovation triggered an era of intense experimentation. Architects learned how to quarry limestone, transport heavy blocks, and align structures with astronomical precision. Then came the fourth dynasty. With it, a ruler whose ambitions matched the scale of the gods, Khufu. Under Khufu's reign, Egypt constructed the Great Pyramid of Giza, a monument so precise that modern engineers still debate how it was built. More than 2 million stone blocks, some weighing over 70 tons, were transported and positioned with breathtaking accuracy. Why build something so massive? Because pyramids weren't merely tombs, they were cosmic machines designed to ensure the pharaoh's ascension to the afterlife. Their shape symbolized the rays of the sun, their alignment reflected the stars, their chambers followed sacred geometry. Mysteries remain. How exactly were the blocks raised? Were ramps used? Levers? A lost technique? Archaeologists uncover new clues every year, but many questions endure. And those mysteries continue to draw millions to Egypt. At the heart of Egypt's rise was one philosophy: the ruler exists to maintain balance. Unlike other ancient kings, the pharaoh wasn't just a political leader. He was the embodiment of Horus on earth, and upon death became Osiris, ruler of the afterlife. This divine cycle reinforced stability across generations. Why does this matter? Because it created a social contract. The people provided labor and loyalty. The pharaoh provided order, protection, and prosperity. This relationship enabled massive state projects, temples, irrigation systems, pyramids, that required thousands of workers and years of planning. But Egyptian power wasn't just physical. It was psychological. Every statue, every temple wall, every relief carving reinforced the message. The pharaoh is eternal, Egypt is eternal. This philosophy preserved continuity for nearly 3,000 years, longer than any major civilization in history. Beyond religion, Egypt also developed early principles of governance, taxation, record-keeping, long-term planning, and legal frameworks. These ideas influenced Greece, Rome, and eventually the modern world. Why does ancient Egypt still captivate us? Because Egypt represents the beginning of human imagination, our desire to build, believe, and leave something behind. The rise of the pharaoh shows how leadership, unity, and vision can turn scattered villages into world-shaping civilizations. Egypt teaches that stability, purpose, and shared belief can drive extraordinary innovation. In the modern world, we still borrow from Egypt's legacy. Architectural design, burial traditions, symbolism, mathematics, the concept of centralized leadership. Even our fascination with life, death, and the universe mirrors the Egyptian mindset. Their monuments remind us that human ambition has no limit. Their philosophy reminds us that societies thrive when people move together toward a common goal. As we close this documentary, one question remains. What will our generation leave behind for the future to discover? If you enjoyed this deep dive into history, subscribe for weekly documentaries. Your support helps us bring more stories from the ancient world to life.